Imagine opening a jar of peanut butter and scooping a smooth, nutty spread onto your morning toast, thinking of it as a simple pleasure or a quick source of energy. What seems ordinary, even comforting, is actually a fascinating conversation between your body and the compounds you're introducing each day. Every bite carries not only calories and flavor, but also proteins, fats, and a host of bioactive molecules that interact with your metabolism, your cardiovascular system, and even your brain. Consuming peanut butter daily may appear mundane, but in reality, it sets into motion a cascade of subtle biochemical processes that ripple through your body in ways you rarely notice. Peanuts are rich in unsaturated fats, particularly monounsaturated and polyunsaturated varieties, which act on your cardiovascular system differently than saturated fats. When these molecules enter the bloodstream, they influence cholesterol balance, encouraging the maintenance of LDL and HDL ratios that affect vessel elasticity and plaque formation. Your arteries are dynamic, living tissues that respond to these lipids by adjusting their tone and endothelial function. With regular exposure to beneficial fatty acids, vessels may become more resilient to stress, less prone to inflammation, and better able to deliver oxygen and nutrients to tissues. Yet these effects are gradual, often silent, and highly dependent on portion size and individual metabolic context. The protein content in peanut butter is another layer of subtle influence. Amino acids from peanuts support muscle repair, neurotransmitter synthesis, and cellular communication. Tryptophan, for instance, can contribute to serotonin production, subtly influencing mood and even sleep patterns over time. The gut microbiome, which thrives on consistent, complex inputs, begins to adapt to regular intake of peanut proteins and fibers, affecting digestion, immune signaling, and even systemic inflammation. What enters your mouth is not merely food, it is information that the body interprets continuously, calibrating hormonal, neural, and vascular responses. Beyond biochemistry, there is also the cognitive and psychological dimension. Eating the same comforting food daily can create ritual and predictability, which the nervous system interprets as stability. This ritualization has implications for stress regulation, mindful eating habits, and even the reward circuits in the brain. The pleasure of taste triggers dopamine pathways, reinforcing behavior and influencing your perception of satiety and well-being. Over weeks and months, this can subtly shape appetite, energy levels, and decision-making around other foods, illustrating how nutrition and behavior intertwine. Yet moderation remains essential. Peanut butter is energy-dense, and the body's capacity to store and process calories is finite. Regular consumption interacts with individual metabolism, hormonal balance, and physical activity levels. Consistent overconsumption may alter insulin sensitivity, weight balance, and lipid profiles, demonstrating that even seemingly healthy foods have context-dependent effects. Eating peanut butter every day is not inherently positive or negative. It is an experiment in balance, a dialogue between what you choose to consume and how your body responds to the ongoing patterns of life, chemistry, and time. When we consider the simple act of spreading peanut butter on a slice of bread, it's easy to overlook the profound ways in which the fats contained within that nutty paste interact with our cardiovascular system. Peanuts are rich in unsaturated fats, particularly monounsaturated and polyunsaturated types, which differ fundamentally from saturated fats in their chemical structure and biological effects. These molecules are not passive calories. They actively participate in the regulation of cholesterol, influencing the balance between LDL, often called bad cholesterol, and HDL, the protective variant. When consumed consistently over time, these fats help maintain vessel elasticity, supporting the delicate lining of arteries that must expand and contract with every heartbeat. This flexibility is crucial as we age because arterial stiffness is a primary contributor to elevated blood pressure and increased cardiovascular risk. The interaction between dietary fats and the endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels, is subtle yet continuous. Each meal that includes beneficial fats sends signals that can reduce inflammation and improve the responsiveness of blood vessels to the natural pulsations of blood flow. The effect is cumulative, not immediate. A single serving of peanut butter will not dramatically change cholesterol levels or vascular function overnight. But repeated intake creates a consistent environment for favorable biochemical signaling. Enzymes and transport proteins that carry lipids through the bloodstream adapt to this regular input, gradually optimizing the way fats are metabolized and incorporated into cellular structures. This influences the formation of arterial plaques, the oxidative stress on vascular walls, and the body's inflammatory response. Over months and years, these small shifts can significantly reduce the likelihood of conditions such as atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke, illustrating the quiet power of daily dietary choices. Furthermore, the combination of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats interact with other nutrients in ways that enhance their effect. For example, the presence of vitamin E, an antioxidant naturally found in peanuts, protects lipids from oxidative damage during circulation, preventing harmful modifications that contribute to plaque buildup. This means that peanut butter is not simply a source of calories or fat, it is a complex matrix that communicates with multiple aspects of cardiovascular health simultaneously. The arteries, veins, and capillaries respond to these signals continuously, adjusting tone, permeability, and repair mechanisms in subtle, ongoing ways that the conscious mind rarely perceives. Understanding this process highlights an important principle about nutrition. It is not merely the sum of nutrients consumed in a single sitting, but the sustained pattern of intake over time that shapes long-term health outcomes. The cardiovascular system is a dynamic network that thrives on consistency and balance. Daily consumption of foods rich in beneficial fats, such as peanut butter, provides one of the quietest yet most powerful influences on vascular integrity, allowing the body to maintain resilience against the stresses of aging, environmental factors, and metabolic fluctuations. The proteins contained in peanut butter are more than just building blocks for muscle. They are active participants in a complex network of biological processes that influence mood, cognition, and overall vitality. When we consume peanuts, the body breaks down these proteins into amino acids, which serve as precursors for neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that allow our nervous system to communicate effectively. Tryptophan, for instance, can contribute to serotonin production, subtly influencing mood and even sleep patterns over time. The gut microbiome, which thrives on consistent, complex inputs, begins to adapt to regular intake of peanut proteins and fibers, affecting digestion, immune signaling, and even systemic inflammation. What enters your mouth is not merely food, it is information that the body interprets continuously, calibrating hormonal, neural, and vascular responses. Beyond biochemistry, there is also the cognitive and psychological dimension. Eating the same comforting food daily can create ritual and predictability, which the nervous system interprets as stability. This ritualization has implications for stress regulation, mindful eating habits, and even the reward circuits in the brain. The pleasure of taste triggers dopamine pathways, reinforcing behavior and influencing your perception of satiety and well-being. Over weeks and months, this can subtly shape appetite, energy levels, and decision-making around other foods, illustrating how nutrition and behavior intertwine. Yet moderation remains essential. Peanut butter is energy-dense, and the body's capacity to store and process calories is finite. Regular consumption interacts with individual metabolism, hormonal balance, and physical activity levels.
Consistent overconsumption may alter insulin sensitivity, weight balance, and lipid profiles, demonstrating that even seemingly healthy foods have context-dependent effects. Eating peanut butter every day is not inherently positive or negative. It is an experiment in balance, a dialogue between what you choose to consume and how your body responds to the ongoing patterns of life, chemistry, and time.
The effects of peanut butter on the gut microbiome are subtle yet profound, illustrating how food communicates with the body in ways that extend far beyond immediate digestion. Peanuts contain not only proteins and fats, but also fibers and bioactive compounds that serve as nourishment for the complex ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms residing in the digestive tract. These microbes are not passive inhabitants. They actively influence metabolism, immune signaling, and even neurological function through the gut-brain axis. When peanut butter is consumed regularly, it provides consistent substrates that encourage the growth of beneficial microbial strains, which in turn produce metabolites that regulate inflammation, nutrient absorption, and signaling pathways crucial for maintaining homeostasis in the body. One important aspect of this interaction involves short-chain fatty acids, which are produced by gut bacteria when they metabolize dietary fibers. These compounds play a pivotal role in reducing systemic inflammation and supporting the integrity of the intestinal lining, preventing the leakage of inflammatory molecules into circulation. For the aging body, which may already experience low-grade chronic inflammation, these effects are particularly significant. Consuming peanut butter daily introduces fibers that act as a gentle stimulus for these protective microbial processes, helping to modulate inflammatory responses not only in the gut but throughout the body, including the brain and cardiovascular system. Moreover, the gut microbiome is deeply intertwined with cognitive and emotional health. Signals generated by gut bacteria can influence neurotransmitter production, hormonal balance, and neural signaling pathways, subtly affecting mood, focus, and energy levels over time. Amino acids and fats from peanuts can be metabolized by microbes into neuroactive compounds, which then interact with the nervous system through the vagus nerve and systemic circulation. Regular exposure to these nutrients supports the microbiome's ability to produce such compounds consistently, creating a stable internal environment that the brain can rely on for energy and chemical balance. This relationship between peanut butter and the gut also emphasizes the importance of moderation and balance. While small, consistent servings can encourage beneficial microbial activity, excessive intake may overwhelm the system or alter microbial populations in ways that increase inflammation or digestive discomfort. The body thrives on consistent, varied input, and peanut butter can be a harmonious addition when combined with other nutrient-dense foods that support a diverse microbiome. Over time, this diversity contributes to more resilient digestion, improved nutrient absorption, and better regulation of systemic inflammation, all of which indirectly support cognitive function, vascular health, and overall well-being. Finally, the psychological dimension of this process is worth considering. Knowing that a simple, enjoyable food like peanut butter supports internal ecosystems adds an element of mindfulness to consumption, encouraging intentionality in diet and fostering a deeper connection between food choices and bodily responses. This consistent, reflective approach helps maintain a stable and balanced microbiome, reinforcing the subtle, cumulative effects that promote both physical and mental resilience. Through these mechanisms, peanut butter is not merely a source of calories or protein. It becomes a conduit through which the gut, the brain, and the immune system communicate and adapt in harmony, illustrating the remarkable interconnectedness of our biology. Beyond its biochemical effects, peanut butter also exerts a subtle influence on the mind through habitual consumption and psychological reinforcement. When a person incorporates peanut butter into a daily routine, it becomes more than just food. It transforms into a small ritual that provides predictability, comfort, and a sense of control over one's diet.
The human nervous system thrives on patterns, and consistent behaviors help regulate stress responses, reinforce healthy habits, and stabilize mood. Eating the same nutrient-rich food regularly engages reward pathways in the brain, particularly those involving dopamine, which is essential for motivation, pleasure, and reinforcement learning. Over time, this mild stimulation of neural reward circuits can encourage mindful consumption, strengthen positive dietary choices, and foster an overall sense of well-being. The ritual of eating peanut butter also affects satiety and appetite regulation. Its combination of protein, fat, and fiber provides a steady source of energy that signals fullness to the brain in a gradual, controlled manner. Unlike highly processed sugars or refined snacks, peanut butter delivers a slower, sustained release of calories and nutrients, helping to avoid abrupt spikes and crashes in blood glucose. This steadiness reduces cravings, supports steady energy levels throughout the day, and encourages better decision-making around subsequent meals. When the body receives reliable signals of nourishment, the brain can focus less on seeking immediate gratification and more on long-term health and cognitive tasks, demonstrating how dietary choices extend beyond physical nourishment to influence psychological resilience and executive function. Furthermore, the consistency of including peanut butter in a daily regimen nurtures a mindful awareness of the body's responses. As individuals observe how they feel after consumption, whether alert, satisfied, or sluggish, they develop a feedback loop that enhances interoception, or the ability to sense internal bodily states. This heightened awareness allows for more informed adjustments to portion size, timing, and combination with other foods. Over months and years, this reflective practice strengthens the connection between diet and personal physiology, fostering a more intuitive and balanced approach to eating that aligns with both mental and physical well-being. The act of mindful, habitual consumption also has social and emotional dimensions. Sharing meals or snacks like peanut butter with family or friends reinforces social bonds and provides comfort, both of which are important for mental health and stress regulation. Positive social interactions release endorphins and oxytocin, chemicals that interact with the same neural circuits influenced by rewarding foods, creating a synergistic effect that benefits mood, cognition, and cardiovascular health. In this way, peanut butter contributes not only as a source of nutrients, but also as a facilitator of behaviors and experiences that enhance overall resilience and quality of life. It is important to recognize that these psychological effects are context-dependent and interact with individual temperament, lifestyle, and environment. When peanut butter is consumed in moderation as part of a balanced diet, it provides a gentle, stabilizing influence on mental and emotional states, reinforcing patterns of mindfulness, deliberate choice, and psychological satisfaction. This daily ritual, seemingly simple, illustrates how the intersection of biology and behavior creates cumulative effects that shape both brain function and overall well-being, showing that nourishment extends beyond calories to include habit, mindfulness, and the intricate dialogue between body and mind. Even with all the benefits of peanut butter, the healthy fats, the protein, the gut-supporting fibers, and the psychological comfort, moderation and context are essential for ensuring that daily consumption supports health rather than inadvertently creating imbalances. Peanut butter is calorie-dense, meaning that each spoonful delivers a concentrated source of energy that the body must process efficiently. For individuals with slower metabolism, reduced physical activity, or insulin sensitivity concerns, excessive intake can lead to weight gain, altered lipid profiles, and fluctuations in blood sugar. This does not diminish the inherent value of peanut butter as a nutrient-rich food, but it highlights the principle that any beneficial food can have negative consequences when consumed without regard to total energy balance and individual metabolic capacity. The body's response is highly contextual dependent, and overconsumption can tip the delicate equilibrium between nourishment and excess. The interplay between peanut butter and insulin regulation exemplifies this balance. while the protein and healthy fats provide a slower, steadier release of glucose than refined carbohydrates. Too much at once can still overwhelm the body's capacity to maintain stable blood sugar. Chronic overconsumption can subtly influence insulin sensitivity over time, potentially increasing the risk of metabolic dysfunction. This illustrates that even foods generally considered heart-healthy or brain-supporting must be incorporated thoughtfully in quantities and frequencies that align with the body's unique metabolic physiology. The metabolic system communicates continuously, and repeated signals of excess energy storage can lead to adjustments in fat deposition, hormonal signaling, and appetite regulation, underscoring the nuanced relationship between diet and long-term health outcomes. Portion control also interacts with satiety signals and digestive efficiency. Peanut butter's combination of fats, protein, and fiber promotes fullness, but when consumed in excessive amounts, it can desensitize the brain to satiety cues, leading to unintentional overfeeding. The gastrointestinal system, particularly in older adults, may respond differently to concentrated sources of fat and protein, influencing digestion, absorption, and gut microbiome composition. By balancing intake, the benefits of supporting the microbiome, maintaining steady energy levels, and providing essential amino acids are preserved without triggering metabolic strain or digestive discomfort. Over time,